Okay,
Yeah.
good.
All right,
Damn,
starting recording still. It's taking a second. Okay, it's just started. So whenever do you all see it up top?
Yeah, I see it.
Yep.
Okay.
I see it.
All right. So Dave, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Hey, and welcome there to Puckin Dirty, a new hockey podcast that features myself, David, my friend Matthew, and our producer and friend, of course, Ryan. He also produces another podcast on this channel called Talking Dirty. You guys should check that out as well. So,
yeah, I heard Ryan's the best host there, and guy just sucks.
yeah, you didn't hear it from me. You didn't hear it from me.
Yeah, me either. I don't know, but all right.
Guy's the man for sure.
This podcast, we kind of just started talking like maybe 2 weeks ago, and me and Matt came on talking dirty, and we just kind of shot the shit for a couple hours, honestly. And we decided, it might be fun to do this on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. So we teamed up, and here we are shooting the very first one. So how you guys feeling? What'd you guys do today? Matt, you do anything fun in preparation for
No, I just went down to Grist House.
today? Yeah.
You got trash.
Yeah, I had a couple IPAs.
Oh,
just
nice.
2.
Very nice.
And they were
That
tasty.
that sounds so suburban dad of you.
I was in my flannel, all dressed up, ready
I
to
was
go.
say, he looks suburban dad. He kind of fits the part.
Oh, hon, I had too many IPAs at the work happy hour.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was my old work.
Ex-work.
Yeah.
Next work.
So it's weird for me because this is my birthday today. And
Oh yeah, happy birthday!
Thanks.
Happy birthday, Dave.
I keep forgetting, dude. Today I feel bad.
It's okay. Don't worry. I actually share a birthday with my friend from college, Joey. So shout out Joey if he ever hears this. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
Joey?
Yeah, he was in the hockey league at one point. He's no longer in it. My friend Ryan names his team Joey, I think still.
Okay.
Joey or something like that.
Yeah, it was that at one point.
Now
as well.
it's just Joey, I think, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's changed it.
I don't know.
We'll get into fantasy hockey later, though.
Get into a bunch of goodies later, but yeah, that's why we started this. I think this is going to be a fun thing. I've always wanted to talk hockey in general, and I know Ryan's kind of new at hockey, or at least he says he doesn't know that much. So I think it'd be fun to also kind of educate someone who might not know as much.
Yeah, I'm like a closeted hockey fan because I'll know hockey stuff, but I won't know I know it until someone else says it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I subconsciously say I really don't know much, and then someone will be talking about like I don't know
the Kraken or the Pens. I mean, some stuff about the Kraken. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you followed them.
You got that roster. Kraken. You got the roster of the Kraken down to the bone.
Yeah, dude, I'm a hardcore crackhead. So
yeah,
I kind of have to be. But like, so real quick side note. I'm gonna let you guys cook for the most part here. But I am currently watching the Rangers Islanders game, and no one's yet. So I am gonna go and put a first goal bet because they're the most electric bets in hockey. Suggestion. But so last night, me and Matt, I was at Matt's, and I had a bet on McKinnon, Makar, or Panarin, and literally all three of them took like a million shots, and none of them went in. And then finally on a power play, Cal Makar ripped a shot from the point, and it looked like he scored, and so I started freaking out. That ended up getting tipped, so I got all mad. I forget who tipped it, but.
Yeah, I did see that game was like 1-0, like super late into like the second or third. I was like, how the hell is no one on those teams scoring?
It was the first, but it was like late in the first.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
And there was like a million scoring chances that just didn't go in, and all the scoring chances were either McKinnon, Makar, or Panarin.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Nishushkin tipped that goal in just
barely. There you go. Well, speaking of stuff going on tonight and just like hockey in general. So there's a few things I thought was just, we should bring up in general in hockey. For one, Phil Kessel broke the Iron Man streak at, I think it was 980 games in a row played. I mean, that's kind of insane in any sport, let alone the sport where you're like flicking around a puck on blades,
And it's just crazy because it's him too.
Yeah, well, they so they did kind of skirt the rule on one game. I want to say he had a kid being born. He started the game and then came out and went immediately to his wife or whatever. So it's kind of skirting the rule a little bit, but I mean, I don't really care. I love Phil Kessel. I think him and Crosby are the two jerseys I own of the Penguins, and his is like a legitimate fight strap one.
If I could have a dream foursome in golf, Phil Kessel would be one of the slots because of that midway point eating a glizzy with Phil Kessel.
Oh yeah, after 9, start eating a
Yes.
glizzy. Dude, he'd have glizzies already pulled up for you. You probably have them in the cooler.
Yeah, seriously, that would be the most electric golf outing ever.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Phil seems like a very good guy, but I just want to shout him out. He's important. Honestly, I don't think the Pens win Stanley Cups without him. My
agree.
second piece of I'd call it hockey pop culture is Paul Bissonnette. He got called out by Ryan Reaves during this game's pregame, the Rangers Islanders pregame, to fight at Rough and Rowdy, and I think that'd be fucking sweet if they fought. I think it would be dangerous because those two fighting each other are actual combatants, not like some drunk redneck with 3 teeth from West Virginia. If one of those punches land, they might actually hurt one another. So be fun. But
and there would be no gloves, and you couldn't grab the jersey.
Gloves.
But you can't grab the jersey, right? Like in boxing.
Well, no, but they definitely have gloves. If you didn't have gloves, that'd be bare knuckle, and I feel like you'd definitely die.
Yeah, you're right. It's not.
All right, I'm trying to limit how many times I chime in, but Matt, they have gloves. Boxers have gloves.
Yeah, it's a boxing. Rough and Rowdy's boxing,
but not like hockey gloves. Is like.
Yeah, well, those gloves probably weigh more and more of an impact behind them, if I have to guess.
Yeah, probably.
My third bit and last bit of hockey pop culture is the Arizona Coyotes. You guys know how they're playing in like a college arena this year. They have their current away locker rooms are basically just 5 sheets, like curtains, just like hanging down. And like it looks embarrassing. Like it looks like so corny. Like I don't know if the Pens are playing there. I think it's like the first 4 or 5 games are like that because they'll build something, but it's just like embarrassing for the league, honestly.
Yeah, like they need to move them at that point, right?
I mean, the NHL is not moving from Arizona. They're sticking to it, for sure.
I feel like this might be a bold take, but it's kind of like bad for environmental purposes to stay in Arizona.
Yeah, it's fair.
Like,
just a fact check real quick. The next games are Winnipeg, Rangers, Panthers, and Stars in Arizona.
Okay, so they'll have to suffer. Sucks to be them. I'm glad it's not the Pens. I knew the Pens were on a Western Coast trip. I wasn't sure if they were going there as well.
I think though Arizona needs to work out a deal with their option 1 should be stay there because the fan base there is great. Like,
yeah,
Austin Matthews was born there or something.
Yeah, he's from that area.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think they should pull out. I think that's a bad move. I think Arizona and Phoenix in general, that Glendale area, that they have a lot of people there. So
yeah, that's like a big.
Just got to get a good team and good management. I kind of blame the front office there because I think they were evicted essentially from their previous arena. So that's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
Fact check. I'm gonna be the fact check guy. Fact check. Austin Matthews, born in California, moved to Scottsdale, Arizona as a baby.
Scottsdale. That's it. What it is.
So he was raised in Arizona, I guess.
Yeah, basically. I think he is a military kid. I don't actually know that. But yeah, that's all I got for hockey culture. Really, I mostly stuff from today. I saw that was pretty fun. The next segment, I mean, I would like to discuss the Penguins, Matt. If you'd like to talk about Columbus as well, we could take it one team at a time. Start with the better one, Penguins, obviously.
The Jackets, yeah, they.
Yeah, too bad. This is a Yinzer podcast, Matthew.
Yeah, I know. I'll respect it.
So I mean, the Penguins, they started off strong. I mean, they're Sid's on another level as usual. He has like 11 points in 7 games. Pens are in the top of the Metro. It's only 7 games in. It's a super small sample size, but I mean, you gotta like what you see for the most part. Last 2 games, they looked kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, Flames, I think it was like 17 shots to 1 in the first period, or maybe even more. I mean, that's just you're clearly not executing whatever game plan you have if you're not getting any shots on net. I kind of attribute that to some of the injuries they've had, like Teddy Bluger.
Bluger.
Yeah, it's
Bluger.
hard to say, and Jake Gensel. Teddy was actually placed on LTIR retroactively recently, which is kind of a good thing for cap relief, but it means we got to call up one of these like kind of suspect guys from the AHL who might not even have a contract beyond these years. Who knows? So those guys, it was Samuel Polian. I think it's Polian. He was a 2019 first round draft by the Pens, so he, in theory, should be able to his trajectory as a first round pick. He should be able to crack the lineup here pretty soon. The other guy was Drake Kagula, I think his name was.
Kajula.
Yeah, I'm not good with names. Kajula. Yeah, so he plays like 7-8 minutes a night. He's not getting a lot of time. I mean, I kind of attribute that to their losses. I mean, the Pens lost 6-3 and then 4-1. They were winning against Edmonton, and it looked like they had them on the ropes. And then, like the second period, they let up 20 shots, or like 24 shots, and it's like same thing with the first against the Flames. It's just like whatever structure they have, maybe they can't execute it without these players because, I mean, they are important players. Jake Gensel, Teddy. I mean, Teddy is huge. I mean, he's probably one of Sully's favorite guys on the Pens.
My opinion on the Pens, though, like with their 2 most recent losses, is like they shouldn't freak out because the Flames and the Oilers are like cream of the crop out of the West.
It's
And,
true.
Like,
No, you're right.
Like the Pens are still beating teams like the Kings, who I think are a playoff team. The Jackets, we'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
They beat the Lightning, and then they also destroyed the Coyotes, which we agreed that like the Coyotes are going through some stuff right now.
Yeah, they're awful. I mean,
who did we wreck last week? But we're recording the podcast. We won like 6-2. Who did we play then?
I think it was the Coyotes.
It was the Kings.
Wasn't it? Oh, it was the Kings. It was Kings.
6-1 was the final.
Yeah, that happened while we were recording. And we just kept saying, "Oh, he scored! Oh, he scored!"
Yeah, and it's what I'm like. What you said, Matt. Like how no reason to panic. It's kind of what I'm getting at. You know, it's like 2 injuries to 2 very important guys on our team. It's hard to come even in any league. It's hard to have that much depth, you know, to fill those roles. And the Pens have definitely spent their draft capital on championships, not getting people in the system. You know.
Yeah, and also a point on the Pens, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They're on a road trip, and this is their 3rd out of their 5th game. So, like, the road trips are always
tough.
Both a fun time and a tough time. Just get focused on the road. You're traveling. I don't know. They're pros nowadays. So, like,
I mean, you got to go back, travel in time. You know, like the hour differential that affects people. I mean,
yeah, you got to wake up at different hours and break that sleep cycle up. Like,
and it's a long trip too. I mean, I don't know. You have to go through customs if you're going to a Canadian team. That's why they do it this way. They do like a trip, you know.
Yeah, they're on like a Canada, and then they're coming back through Seattle on the Saturday.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun game to watch, Ryan. Pens versus
definitely
Crackheads.
I last year I was at the Crackhead Penguin game in Pittsburgh, and I wore my Gensel jersey. I was cheering for the Pens, obviously.
Of course.
But I had my Crackhead hat on, and I think I said this on my podcast already, but
I think you did.
So many people kept coming up and like just giving me shit for it, and I just kept replying, "I don't know what to tell you. I'm a crackhead."
Yeah.
and everyone turned from like being like, "Dude, what are you wearing that hat for?" to like, "All right, that's pretty funny."
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's clever. He passes the sniff check or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, to finish out this road trip, they're going to play the Kraken, which I think probably better than Vancouver. Vancouver looks awful. I hope they can sneak away with both wins. I mean, missing some guys, it sucks, but I mean, I'm hoping Jari comes back from that game from what you call it, Edmonton, where he let in 6 goals. I think he'll be fine.
I mean, we don't have another option because I hate
Smith,
Jason
yeah.
Smith. I hate him. He's so
Yeah,
bad.
I want to like him, and like he had some good moments last year, but I feel
After
like
like a
we could
game
have.
or two, he's done. You can't. He doesn't play good back to back.
Yeah, he gets injured a lot too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I can't remember how
his
many games he or
durability.
yeah, durability for sure. I think he has only a. I hope it's only a 1 year contract with us because like
Oh,
he
fact
gets
check.
paid 1.8. Oh, it's 2 years. Yeah, he gets paid 1.8 for 2 years. I mean, I feel like we could find a serviceable alternative. Like,
You'd probably have to pay like in the goalie market nowadays like 3 mil though for like a backup.
no,
I
no.
think we have a decent cap though.
I think the move is pay like your starter 5 to 6 and then the backup like 3 to get two quality
Okay, well, yeah,
10Ds.
okay,
You
that's
know,
fair.
get two
Currently,
quality
Jari only
10Ds.
makes like 3.5. I think. So he's gonna be due for
He
an
needs a raise for
bump
sure.
up. Yeah, because he's been playing his ass off too. He's been playing very well.
When's Jari's contract up?
It's this year. After this year, he's
Oh
probably gonna get
man,
paid that 6 million. But I mean, at that point, then we're. It's just, man, I don't love him, but I think he's serviceable.
I think Jari's pretty
No, sorry.
solid.
I meant
Yeah.
to Smith. I'm sorry.
Oh
Is
yeah. The
serviceable.
Smith. Yeah, he and as long as like Jari doesn't start letting in a lot of goals or something, like
Yeah. I mean, as long as he doesn't have like, I don't know, just bad few games, we'll be fine.
yeah.
Um,
Need the defense to hold up in front of him too. Is there any injuries down that line?
no, not yet. I mean, Pens almost have too many defensemen. So if anywhere, I think that is a place where they have a strength and depth is their defenseman. Hey, they might even move one before the end of the deadline here. Who knows? It could
Yeah,
be
that's
like
pretty
Marcus
far
Pedersen
away.
makes some cap space or some shit. I don't know. Who
Or
knows?
Jari next year.
Or
I
even
don't know.
Dumo. Like I've heard rumblings, very like not big rumblings, but definite rumblings about people aren't happy with Dumo anymore. And I was like, I think he's all right. I think he's like a shutdown guy, but yeah.
Gonna
Um,
need
I
someone
like
to
Zuma.
be flashy though once Letang is gone in like what 3 years?
yeah, that's a while though. That's when the cup window officially is closed.
Closes and we're ready to go.
hmm
Move on. That yeah.
Speaking of future, so this is my last point on the Pens really because talk about some of the recent stuff to talk. It's beginning of season, so just think of like expectations of their record. Like I hope and I'm thinking I think they can put up 50 wins with their current roster as long as it doesn't get too derailed by injuries. I think these guys are gonna want to play for like the big three here, the Crosby, Malkin, Letang. I think these, and honestly, I'd even throw Dumo into that at this point. Dumo's been there a long time. I think people might want to win for these guys, these young guys, and prove something here. I think they
Petrie,
could
the
win
new
50.
guy, like he wants to win a cup. I don't have any
Yeah,
doubt in that. He was in Montreal. He got so close, and
true.
like he'll be raring for a cup. Like I
That's
think
another
that's a
good
great
point.
acquisition by the Penguins in
I
this season.
I did like it as well. I know everyone always has grumblings and complaints, but I think Petrie adds more than uh, John Marino was, or I can't remember her. I always forget this guy, and I loved him. He was from Florida. That guy.
Oh, Matheson.
Matheson. Yeah, I loved Matheson. He could skate with the puck. He was fun to watch.
He was another guy that was hurt a lot though. I feel like.
Dunkel, shout out Dunkel, had a lot of gripes with him. I always defended him. I'll defend a playmaking defenseman because I love watching it. That's why I love Cale Makar. just like watching him skirt the line, the blue line. It's just I just love it.
The best player in the NHL, right?
Yeah, exactly. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Dave DeJoya.
Yeah, I don't know if you're the first one ever said that.
I don't know. I said it last week.
You know what? No, yeah, for views,
check it.
David DeJoy is the first one who said it.
I'm the first one that I've heard that said it.
Yeah.
So you wanna, Matt? So like I'm pretty much through my talking points on the Pens. You wanna take it over the Jackets, or you got anything else?
Uh,
What do you think the Pens finish at? How many wins since this is your
I can't do math very well. So
there's 82 games in the season.
Yeah, just
like 50-ish.
You think they go? So you think they put up a 100-point season here?
Like 95 to 100 range, I'd say. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I'm just curious. Just looking back on stuff, we can see how wrong or how right we were.
Yeah.
You want to take it over to Jackets now? I'll let you.
Yeah.
let
Well.
him cook.
Need a second. Okay. No worries.
Sorry, I'm like very under.
It's okay. I mean, I can tell you from stuff I've watched recently about them. I mean,
But
I don't think Columbus is going to be a great team. I don't want to be the one to say that because it's just why. Well, who would just want to listen to me shit on the team? It's just
all right.
Little
all right.
brother.
Well,
yeah, it is little brother.
the Jackets. I feel like we all had, as a fan base, had high expectations, like going into the season with the acquisition of Johnny Hockey. He's a point per game pace, like he's doing his job basically, and
Under what he did last season though,
but still, like he's putting
true.
up a point per game, and that's what you're paying him to do, and like. Basically, I think some of the guys surrounding him need to step up, like young dudes, like Kent Johnson and Chinikov. Both of them are putting up points this year, and some of the other guys like Sillinger and maybe give Foodie some more of a chance to play.
I'll say
price time if they're ready. Everyone develops differently, and you don't want to rush someone's development in their professional hockey career. So
true.
like they should take time with the young guys and maybe not like the cup is always the goal every season. But like I guess the squad that they got on paper could develop into something really good.
I mean, I agree. In terms of like someone that needs to step up, I'm gonna say Patrick Laine needs to step up. I mean, he was supposed to be this sniper guy, and ever since he's gotten to Columbus, he's been just getting hurt. And
yeah, that's like
honestly, he only had one. How long's he been there? Like 3 years, and only the 1 year he was a point per game, and
I think it was
still
last
didn't even
year.
play all that much. Yeah, it was last
Yeah.
year, and he only played 56 games last year. It's like this guy is also got injured already this year. It's like I think
he's
of
played
all
2
people, he needs to step
seasons.
up. He's definitely one.
He's played 2 seasons, or not 2 seasons, 2 games with Columbus this year and has 1 goal. So like that's like underperforming his goal.
I say also
production
underperforming is not being
values.
healthy. You know,
Yeah,
especially he gets paid $7.5 million. It's a lot of money.
that is, but like when he's healthy, and if he gets healthy at the right times, the Jackets could like make a run. Basically,
I don't know about that.
like maybe first or second round of the playoffs. I'd put them at like
I'd give that their ceiling for sure.
yeah, ceiling like that, and then maybe
I mean,
44 to 47 wins.
You're insane. No way.
You don't think
That I mean that puts them in like probably the third
card?
No, I don't know if it's wild card. It's like the third spot, I'd say, around in the Metro, because you figure the top team has like 100 to 110 points. Second place has 105 to 100 ish. Third place probably has not 90 range, 99 range.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they're gonna be like
I don't think they're that good. I think
42 to 44 wins, I'd say, if I had to do the math right.
I'd give them 35.
35 wins.
I think they're a 70-point team, bottom of the NHL. I mean, 70 is not even that bad. 50 is like putrid, and I'm pretty sure we got to that like last year. I just don't see much improvement from this year to last year besides getting Johnny Hockey, and we all know it's hockey. If one player does not make a team, like
It's true.
like Crosby. Look how many years Crosby had Malkin, Letang, and all that help, and he's definitely better than Gaudreau without a doubt. And he did not win cups with a better roster than this. I'm just saying they got to fight a bloodbath to get out of the Metro. I don't know if they can make 40 wins. I'd give 40 wins as the maximum.
I'm going to say 43 wins is my final for the Jackets. Just because, like, I think there's a second-year coach, a new mix-up of guys on the roster. They're still building chemistry, and there's a lot of potential there with the young dudes.
I like it. I mean, I do agree. They have those young guys. And, like, even Jack Roslovic, I mean, he's pretty decent. I think he kind of needs to step up. I mean, when he was acquired for Dubois,
Yeah.
I thought he was I thought he was a lot better, but maybe it was Dubois that wasn't as good. Maybe, like, why that
I mean, they
trade
got
seems more
Line
even.
too.
Yeah, but, I mean,
Like-
Line was my other guy that needs to step it up, so, like...
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like maybe the trade was more even because these players weren't as good as I initially thought. I mean, Dubois might be having a better season. I don't know right now, but
We could, like, get into individual players in the fantasy hockey segment or something.
yeah, it works. Well, that's a good idea, actually, Matt. I like that. You got anything else on the Jackets? I mean,
Wait, shocking. I just need to write down the time. Matt finally had a good idea.
yeah, that's a good idea. I had some rising stocks and falling stocks then maybe for hockey we can talk about. That kind of fits in with what you're saying there. You got anything else for the Jackets, Matt? I think we both kind of
No,
agree
I
on the
got
ceiling.
nothing else for the Jackets.
I don't think they're like
The Blackhawks are
bottom.
rebuilding, so, like, it's hard to watch that right
Yeah,
now.
they
So-
are the worst team in the league. Like they are purposely like building this roster to lose. Like,
Yeah, it sucks for Kane.
Connor
and
Bedard.
Taves, but
Bedard's supposed to be worth it. So think about all those Stanley Cups he'll win. So you got nothing else for
Nah.
Jack? You want to talk about Hawks? I didn't really think
no,
about the Hawks. They're not really interesting, honestly. They're gonna be shitty.
yeah, they have. If they make the playoffs, I'd be shocked. I'd shit my pants.
Okay, that is true. I kind of agree there. I might shit my pants as well. So
You guys can't be down here shitting pants at our age.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you might
We're
need
not,
to go to the doctor.
We're not geriatric yet. Shout out to
Incontinent.
the grandparents out there.
So I was just gonna do like a little review of some of the teams I was watching, and it's like a 6-7 games. Most of these people teams have played. Matt, you're welcome to chime in as I go down my list of teams. I'm gonna start in the Atlantic once again. The Bruins are someone I'd like to really like pump their tires because Linus Ullmark is single-handedly winning me fantasy hockey right now. He has taken over the net from Swayman, who's looked awful this season, and that team is like they're playing for their new coach. Like they are missing Marchand, Charlie McAvoy, whatever the hell his name is.
McAvoy.
I swear I watch hockey. I'm just not good at names.
Start learning the numbers, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I don't think either of us originally picked them for playoffs actually, or like
Bruins
one of our
I
top
had
teams.
not in my top 3.
Yeah, I have it marked, and neither of us picked
Yeah.
them. But
I'm looking too.
I mean, they're definitely someone to watch. I mean, they might be like, I don't know. They could be sneaking in there. I will say that their strength of schedule that they've played has not been great. If I recall correctly, it's been kind of subpar teams. I mean, if they can continue their success, though, I mean, sky's the limit, right? Pasta's been doing great. You got,
Pasta.
yeah,
It's a great dish.
yeah, even better hockey player.
Yeah.
So you want anything else for Boston? I'm just gonna keep rolling. If you
No, I got nothing for the
next
Bruins.
team that I want to talk about is Buffalo, and stop me if you've heard this before, but they're starting out strong. I think this is the third year in a row now, and we haven't hit the point where the wheels have fallen off the wagon, but when we do, I'll be there. I hope it doesn't, because I actually like this team, but just looking down, top down, they are not built for an 82 game season to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with the Sabres. Like they're really young, and like they're in a similar situation as the CBJ, where like they got some like young talent, and in a playoff run, like you can't just rely on that to win.
They're definitely one of the best off teams because they have an insane amount of cap space and a lot of young guys, like you said. So, 2-3 years from now, who knows? Like, I like Alex Tuch. I like Olsen. Middlestat. I hope he takes a step forward. Tage Thompson. Apparently, like Buffalo knows what they're doing there. Signed him to a huge deal. If they can build around that and Rasmus Dahlin, who scored like I think it's five
Yeah,
goals in 5 games, which is an NHL record for a defenseman to start a season.
I was just
Pretty
about to talk
crazy.
about him.
Yeah, go for it.
Like,
Yeah,
I think the future of NHL defensemen, besides your guy, Cale Makar, is Dahlin and Mo Seider from the Red Wings. Like, I think those are the next two best defensemen in the league. Like,
it's crazy that Dahlin's been playing in the league for like 4 years already. He's 22.
yeah,
He's been
he
playing
just
for
like he got
super young.
shit on early when he was young too. Like,
I mean, they're still
I don't
getting.
know,
Let's be real.
but like now he's putting up points and like he could put the team on his back if he had some cap space to work with.
I mean, they got a
Like
lot of cap space.
exactly.
Who knows?
Like
If
if
they
they
want to
get a
give up the
big
capital for
signing,
the team, they could.
yeah.
Hey, maybe Patty Kane goes there. Isn't he from Buffalo?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe he comes in free agency and plays with Alex Tuch. That'd be pretty sick. I'd watch that team.
I would too.
They're
I'd
pretty
buy a
diehard
jersey.
fans there, as in all sports. I mean, Bills Mafia or whatever as well.
I just traded Josh Allen. That's totally off topic, but
Yeah, you just got. No, you didn't
I
get.
might have got fleeced.
No, it was a weird trade, and I was just like, all right, not what I expected on a Wednesday in
It's not like you
October.
traded. It's not like you traded Chris McCaffrey during his best season.
And I
Yeah.
won that year. So like
Flukes happen, people. Flukes happen.
they call me Flucus for a reason in Super Smash Bros.
Shout out Smash Bros. Hey, video game topic later. Shout out video games.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep rolling.
Wait, real quick. I just want to note. I might put this in the notes for the episode. You're like, shout out video games.
Video games have done
shout,
nothing wrong.
shout out the video games.
We all play them. We all love them. So that what else was I talking Atlantic? Oh, the 3 bottom teams right now in the Atlantic. I bet you won't guess them, just based off of who you think they
can
are.
I best it? Can I?
Go for
Since
it.
I don't know. Since I don't know hockey.
Yeah, go.
And then,
you need to
and then
know. Go for it.
I'll guess it. Then Matt, you can correct me.
Go for it.
Atlantic. I feel like
That's
I
like
feel like
Boston's
the way-
division.
yeah. I feel like the way you said that is the Hurricanes Metro or Atlantic?
No, they're Metro. They're with us.
I was gonna say Hurricanes.
I can
feel
read
like
off some of the teams if you want, but
Yeah, because I
so,
usually
in no particular order. Detroit.
the Panthers.
Yeah, so
Panthers,
yeah,
are they one of the bottom 3 teams?
they're actually number 2 right now, so not them.
I see. I'm just thinking good teams in that division. So
There's another Florida team that is in the bottom 3 that you wouldn't
Lightning.
expect. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lightning. I didn't know
and
that.
then 2
They're off the
Canadian
start.
teams. Leaves in Montreal. So I mean Montreal as expected, but Leaves in Tampa Bay. I mean, off to terrible starts for them. For any aspirations they have, I mean we've been talking about, their division is really really good this year. Like on paper, Ottawa won the Stanley Cup, the paper Stanley Cup. Like off-season Stanley Cup, or whatever people call that. And so I mean Detroit added too. So it's like these teams are better. Tampa definitely lost players. I don't know if I picked them. No, wait, no. Actually, neither of us picked them to be in the playoffs, Matt.
Who?
I can't. They weren't one of my guarantees, and you didn't pick them as well.
The Senators?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, Montreal expect to be there. Leaves always start slow, I feel like.
Yeah,
and they always panic because they're like the giant Canadian market. Like, it's like New York here, it's like, oh, they suck. It's like, no, you guys are just, not playing well. It just happens. It's hockey.
Yeah, like I think the fan base in Toronto needs to just like chill.
Yeah, but they definitely won't because they're crazy Canadian people.
Wow.
Yeah. So moving along to the Metro. I mean, to me, all is right in the Metro. The Pens are at the top. They're probably going to be competing for one of the top two spots. Like we talked about earlier, they have this Western culture. I don't know why I keep saying that. Maybe it's CNN. That's why. Call it Western culture. But they have the Western trip coming up. I mean, points are a premium in this division, in this league. Like they need to win a game or at least go into overtime and get a point or two here. And I kind of alluded to it earlier, how salary cap hell is kind of making their roster moves difficult with Teddy and Jake. It's good that they could place Teddy on retroactive LTIR, which is just, hey, he was hurt for this extended period of time. On this day, which was October 11th, we're going to put him on IR and get cap relief so you can call up players from the minors, which is what we did. Which
just like the proper way of doing IR and not doing a Kucherov.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other topic. We can spend a whole session to talk about
maybe episode 4.
It's called cap gymnastics. I don't know who coined that phrase, but that is what it is. But yeah, I mean the Pens. I hope they can put something together here. I think they're one of the top two teams. I think that's not really a surprise to anyone. A team that is a surprise is definitely the Flyers. I think Matt, you said earlier how playing for a new coach,
that was a sleeper team of mine.
Yeah, they're playing well, and honestly, they look good under Torts. I mean, I don't think they're the best team talent-wise, especially with some of the injuries they've had, and like Ryan Ellis might not even play this year, and he was the guy they added. Pretty sure they traded for him, and he has yet to play like 30 games. Maybe he's supposed to be a real good guy, real good player, defenseman.
I know Atkinson had that past chemistry with Torts too.
That's true. That's true.
A, like communication factor right there.
And he's a veteran guy. He might help, communicate Torts' message down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Torts is that kind of coach. Like him or hate him, he motivates his guys. He can get a lot out of his people. But as you've seen in Columbus, you can also get nothing out of them in shit effort. Like someone maybe like I'd call Dubois and Line A. I was going to call those two players out as they kind of, shrunk when a coach like with that kind of personality was there. So I think maybe the Flyers needed it. They've been underperforming for the last 2 years. So honestly, maybe someone who can motivate them to play well.
Yeah.
Prove some of us wrong. I wouldn't love them to prove me wrong, but it would definitely make our rivalry way more interesting and more fun to watch. So gotta say I like it.
How's Carter Hart been looking?
Good question. I didn't
he's 4-0. I just pulled it up actually. But like that's good for your fantasy team, Ryan.
Oh yeah, you got him. Caught a hat.
Killing it.
It's good.
Surprising. I was so late on getting goalies that
I was
At one point, I was looking for goalies that are going to be starters. And I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
kind of what you do.
I did not trust Carter Hart, but so far so good.
Yeah, that was value right now.
Yeah, you can even trade him. That's a great call. We'll get into that on our fantasy spot. So yeah, Flyers. I mean, that is part of their talent, though. They do have some talent there, and I said before, I would definitely love to see them be good, just so we can kick their ass and rub it in their face more. So yeah, the next team is the Rangers. This is a team that we both picked
to go pretty far, I think.
to make it. Yeah. I wouldn't say panic yet, but they kind of aren't looking great in the standings.
They're losing 1-0 to the Isles right now.
Oh, did they score? I didn't see.
Yeah, it looks
Good.
like
I kind of want the Islanders to win. I think they're underrated. We discussed that last pod actually. But I just I don't. The Rangers are not looking amazing. Like I don't. Igor has not been playing as well as he was for the playoffs, where he kind of single handedly bounced the Penguins. But I mean, you see now they got scored on by the Islanders first. Not great.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
that first goal shifts a lot of momentum, like in a
yeah.
hockey game.
And look at someone just popped up. They're 0-2 when allowing the first goal, so they've never won a game. I think something that is like kind of the Rangers' issue is how reliant they are on Mika Zibanejad and his line to score, or they just lose the game. Like it seems feast or famine for him, and like I honestly the start of the season I was betting him to score goals and he was doing it and I was making money and I was like holy shit, but the well dries up pretty quickly with him. And I mean, yeah, he's still a threat to score every night, but if he doesn't, I don't know if the Rangers will win. It seems that way.
I agree with that, and I think me and Ryan were watching last night, and Panarin was on the second line, and they're trying to distribute the wealth a little bit. Like Ryan, I don't know if you have anything to say about watching, but
that's why I'm muted. I was about to say the exact thing, so never mind.
Shit.
And I'll also say real quick too, Dave, you're right because I've had Zibs on my team for the last few years, fantasy wise, and he's so streaky.
Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
Like he'll go like 3, 4, 5 games in a row with like scoring or getting like multiple points, and then just like 3 weeks without anything.
Yeah, he's a dynamic, quick, young player, but like I just feel like they're far too reliant on him, and like I have their roster pulled up here, and he's playing with Kreider and Kakko. It looks like right now.
Kreider's been doing good. I feel like he's a good scorer.
Kreider overachieved super fucking hard last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's that good.
Kakko, I think he's good, but like
I think he's like a 30 goal scorer good. So
yeah,
that's
not like Austin Matthew level goal.
Yeah,
scorer.
I don't think he's 40 goals every year because that was insane. I don't know what his shooting percentage was, but I bet it was abnormally high. Kakko, I mean, I feel like I gave up on him, but he's still a young guy.
Yeah,
so
he's only like 20-ish or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they should go back to it worked last year well, the Panarin and Zibs on the same line. I just think like Matt was saying last night they were distributing the talent around the different lines. I thought that was just stupid because their line did very, very well last year. That's actually solely I can't just bring up fantasy because I know there's a thing later, but I literally drafted them back to back solely because I was like, oh, maybe they'll be on the same line again, and they were just so good last year with it that like it'd be huge. But
it makes sense doubling up, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that brings me back to the Panarin point. I don't think the Rangers have the center depth to support that 2-line like separation of talent.
You don't. Trocheck's on their second line. You don't think he's good enough?
Like to play with Panarin. Like Panarin is elite. Like he's superstar, and Zibs is also elite superstar level. I think Trocheck is like if we're relating this to like Chell or something, like an elite player, a franchise player, maybe not a franchise player. That might be a stretch for Trocheck.
No, he's definitely. I wouldn't even call him elite. He's definitely a top 6 guy
Yeah,
who might be a little bit like he has a scoring touch. I don't think he's like top 50 of the league scoring touch, but I think he can put points in and he's fine for a second line. Maybe a little bit too defensive, but maybe that's the game Rangers would rather play.
yeah. Maybe they need that extra help because Adam Fox can't like do it all on the back end.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. No one can.
Yeah,
It's tough
like
to do. Defend a whole sheet of ice.
yeah, seriously, and like Trocheck and him on the ice together. Like if Fox steps up and Trocheck drops back, that would
Mm-hmm.
be like good scenario for them. But
Yeah,
you know,
I to summarize them though, I think that they need to get their offense going. Besides him, I mean, they're not going to have a great year if they don't. I mean, where are they at now in these rankings? They'd be below the playoff line. So definitely need to step it up. So I got this Western Conference now. I got not as many notes on these. I don't really follow the Western Conference as close, but I don't know if either of you two do either. But
I
yeah,
might follow it a little bit.
you probably.
Sadly, all my hockey knowledge is stuck in the East. So
That's fine.
I know Trevor Zegras and the Crackheads. Outside
There
of
you
the
go.
Crackheads and Trevor Zegras, I don't know nothing.
So I mean, you don't know about Dallas, who is the next team I was gonna bring up. They are having one of the best starts of the season as well. They're 4-2-1. They look pretty dang good. They're +8 goal differential. I mean, they've lost a few games recently, but I mean, I don't think it's anything to really panic about. I think I brought up this one guy Lundqvist. I think I mentioned that they traded for him in the offseason. Him and Marchment, who is a guy I wish I drafted in fantasy hockey. They are great additions to this team, and they're kind of bringing the team alive. Jake Ottinger, also he's their goalie. He's playing insane. He has only 5 goals allowed in 4 games. Um, Honestly, they might be a little underrated right now on most people's radar. If Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin get their scoring going, which they've proved they have in the past, I mean, this team could be scary. Like, they really could be.
So
I
you get
think
that bubble mentality with fans.
bubble mentality
Yeah, like
when they
when
went to
they,
the cup.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I
talked
mean,
about that on the last pod a little, but
yeah. I mean, I just think they're underrated, and I think people might take them lightly, which will allow them to win more games than they should. Or maybe not that they should. They have the talent, but
it's just
people,
about the guys playing well,
yeah.
I guess,
I mean, like
getting
shit.
puck luck
If
and
you
stuff.
tell me that like Jamie Ben's on the Penguins' third line, I'd be like, holy shit, we must be deep as hell. Like, I mean, they're pretty good. Like
Yeah,
Rupe Hintz is another guy that isn't playing pretty dang well for the last few seasons. It's underrated. I think their whole team, like top down, is pretty underrated. We'll see how they do this year.
Heiskanen, he's a stud. He's averaging like 24 minutes, almost 25 minutes of ice time.
I don't know, Heiskanen.
Miro, he's Heiskanen,
I'm
the
trying to.
defenseman, number 4.
Oh! Is he still on the?
Yeah, he's still on Dallas. He's like a solid defenseman, man.
Is he really? Oh man,
Ryan Suter's down there now.
Ryan
That
Sooner's been down there for a little while too.
yeah, that Hakanpaa guy, like in fantasy, he was a good pickup for a couple years
Oh yeah.
because
Oh,
he got
Miro
hits and
Heiskanen. Okay.
blocks.
Sorry, I just realized who you're referring to.
Yeah, but like Dallas, I agree. They're a good team. Like I
Underrated for sure.
don't know if we had them
No.
tops.
Yeah, neither of us had them. I feel like I might have mentioned them at underdogger, but I don't know. I mean,
It's early still though. So.
yeah, granted, this is all in a very short span of time here, but I mean, what we've seen from them, I think they look good. Um, next on the list, team that's looking really awful that we didn't pick to go to the playoffs, but maybe I think people thought they'd do better is the Minnesota Wild. I mean,
If I had to guess, that's what it would have been.
like they're digging themselves in a pretty big hole. They're as of right now, I think they're 2-3-1. They're a -6 goal differential. That's pretty bad for early start. 28 goals allowed in those games. Only 6 games. I mean, they gotta get it together. I'd love to see Fleury, in the playoffs again. Fleury has some swag though. Like if you ever see his goalie kit, he looks good when he's in net.
Yeah, like you can't deny that, and he's a character and loves what he does.
Definitely strong bias. I'd like to see Minnesota do good. They just have never ever put a team together that's been.
Yeah,
They always choke.
I don't think Minnesota is gonna be a good team this year. Like
I think I
they're a couple missing parts away, but I just don't see it.
I think their defense is kind of weak. I think their top six isn't amazing.
It's good, but like you
It's
need more
just
than Kaprizov.
yeah. I mean, their top lines: Kaprizov, Frederick Gaudreau, and Matt Zuccarello.
Yeah,
So
Zuccarello's good though still. Somewhat.
Gaudreau had a decent year. Frederick Gaudreau had a decent year. He was actually on the Pens, if you
I
recall.
remember that. Yeah, yeah.
I was kind of pissed that we lost him. I'm surprised he
He was a
put up
good
50 points, or 44 points actually last season. Not bad, but not a guy point per game. And
yeah.
not even like point six is kind of like third line, second line player, I'd say. Third line, not really second line, but yeah, that's really all I had on the Central guys. The last division is the Pacific. Um, hell yeah, I do have a thing on the Kraken, but
Whoa.
I want to first talk about Vegas. They're getting the goaltending they need to be competitive. I kind of expect last year they were a team that couldn't really score. I expect this year to be a team that might have some pretty high scoring games. If they can limit the chances in the other team, I mean Logan Thompson seems all right. I didn't really know much about him last year. I had him on my fantasy team a few games after Lehner got hurt. He played all right, dropped him here and there, picked him up. I mean, if they get this kind of goaltending, I think they could. They're a solid enough roster that they could definitely compete. I
Yeah, they
mean,
beat some quality teams this year, maybe. Toronto and
yeah,
LA.
those are two teams that could sniff the playoffs. So,
Seattle Kraken are an honorable mention. They were a sleeper team for both of us, if I remember.
and I mean, and like those are decent teams that they're beating. It's not like they're it's not like they're barely beating them too. Their goal differential is +9, which is currently second in the league behind the Bruins. So it's like they're handling their games pretty well.
Yeah,
So
and their only two losses are both by 1 goal each.
there you go. So close
So
games,
like,
a pretty deep roster. I mean, look down Eichel, Stone, Carlson. I mean, that's kind of crazy already. That's a pretty good team.
March or so.
Yeah. The only thing that might fuck them is salary. I don't remember where exactly they stand on the cap hit, but currently their cap hit is projected to be 96,557,000, which is $14 million over the salary cap. The only
Oh my
way that they
gosh.
got this can even do this is because they have Shea Weber, Robin Lehner, and Patrick Nolan all on
Nolan
LTIR.
Patrick.
So yeah, Nolan Patrick all on LTIR, which adds up to that 14 million, and they're using all of it. So Kucherov rule in play here for
I
sure.
trade someone. You have to.
I mean the Shea Weber's not coming back this year. Robin Lehner's not coming back this year, and Nolan Patrick isn't either. So they can do this. It's
Oh
legit.
man.
Nolan Patrick, I think he came over in the Cody Glass trade with the Flyers.
Yeah.
I think he has concussion issues, so it's kind of a sad thing. He's a young guy, and it's like even if he was a Flyer, I don't want to see any player's career cut short by a head injury. That's just sad in general.
Yeah, it sucks.
Part of the sport, but it's nonetheless still sad.
Helmet sensors would be a great thing to install if they haven't already to manage like hits. Like if you get hit with a certain force or something,
yeah.
like it'll make this like sensor go off. We used them back in the Central days.
I was gonna say something actually. I was like, did you guys have those? Because
Yeah, we did, and like they'd like light up when you took too hard of a hit.
and that's
And
interesting.
we were part of like a test group, I guess, to study the effects of like the concussions, I guess.
Well, that is pretty
And
cool.
like taking a baseline test to like manage like how the concussions affected you and your like reaction times and stuff.
And I'm sure the NHL has something invested into that. I'm sure player safety, like nowadays especially, is important. I mean, that's pretty much all I got for like minor. Um, if we want to go to the moot tracker just to finish it off, Matt, I have the list of teams that
You're
are
staticky right now.
Am I?
Yeah. Okay, you're good now.
Okay. So moot tracker, I have the list of teams.
Actually, you're not. But
do I sound bad?
There's
It's
just
your it's your background noise is a lot static.
Huh. Give me 1 second then. How's that sound?
That should be good.
Okay. Well, the moot tracker. So I kind of just divided the teams where theoretical playoff line would be, and right now you're sitting all right. For the Atlantic Division, you picked the Florida Panthers, Detroit Red Wings, and Reaves. Right now, only the Panthers are sitting above that line, but obviously there's a lot of games to be played. In the Metro, you picked Carolina and the Pens and the Rangers. Rangers are the only team sitting below that playoff line, but this is the Metro, so they gotta win to be anyway competitive in this division.
Oh, yeah.
In the Central, you picked Colorado, Blues, Predators, and I agreed with you on Avalanche and Preds, but the Preds are the ones that are not playing well right now. We didn't really discuss it, but they are playing kind of crap right now ever since those European games. But we'll keep going with the moot tracker. In the Pacific, you picked Calgary, the Kings, and the Oilers. And the Oilers are the only ones that are sitting beneath the line, but they're also 2 games back, so they could definitely be there. So as of right now, you only have 4 or 5 teams out of the playoff contention. So and they're kind of on the cusp. So you're right there. It's kind of like a crazy 8-12 game or whatever 12 team parlay like you're doing.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy, but you're doing well.
Money on it. I'm not
smart man would have.
Well, you have somewhat money on it. By that, I mean
right.
you'd have to spend money if you don't get it.
And a ticket, I guess.
Yeah, for those who are just tuning in for this podcast, Talking Dirty every year, Matt comes on, does his predictions, and him and my co-host Guy decide to do a little bet on if he gets 10 or more correct, like the top 3 in each division correct. Guy has to do something. Then if he gets 8 or less, then Matt has to do something. If they get 9, it's a push. Last year they pushed. This year, what's on the line, Matt? Just so everyone knows what the moot tracker is all about.
On the line is we have to wear our Guy has to go to a Pens game in a Jackets jersey, and then I'll have to go to a Pens game in a Sidney Crosby jersey.
Good. Was that supposed to be in Columbus or so? You guys were getting like real technical with it. So
it ended up being like both in like their respective cities. You'd have to like blend in basically.
I think
Yeah.
what should be is you have to go to Columbus with a Pens jersey. And he has
Yeah.
to go to Pittsburgh in a Columbus jersey.
I agree with that. That
Because I
makes
think
Okay.
I thought that's what he said. Because I said I'd go to Columbus with you.
Yeah, it'd be a
Okay.
fun
I
trip. I
like
would
that.
definitely do
Yeah.
that too. You can pretend to be a Pens fan and be cool for a day.
Yeah, you'll be literally like in the majority at a Pens Jackets game if you wore a Pens jersey in
Yeah,
Columbus.
but I'm gonna get a push again. I have a feeling.
There is no
Uh,
chance to push, I thought.
No, 9 is a push.
Nine's the push.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's 10, 11, 12 teams correct. Then Matt wins. 8 or
Gotcha.
less guy wins. 9 is a push.
Well, it'll be pretty fun.
Moot,
Yeah.
moot.
So I mean that basically wraps up the minor review that we have along with Mooch Tracker. The next thing I wanted to talk about or segment would have been or is fantasy hockey. I just wanted to get general vibe since you guys are both in our league and just talk about maybe what strategy you guys kind of employ, or we can start with myself if you guys want, since I kind of prepared for this. I mean, we've been playing fantasy hockey for a very long time. We used to do points. One year we shifted to categories, which it's like points or goals, assists, shots on goal. And I don't know when we did it, but ever since then I've really liked playing it. It's kind of how we did baseball, but without all the stupid record bull crap. I think it's pretty fun. I like.
If you want a quick
categories.
rundown on the league like categories, basically you select the players that'll get you the most of a certain category and try to win like that category. So for example, goals, like
Austin Matthews.
whoever has the most goals
I think
out
it's
of
pretty
the either team gets
self-explanatory.
1 point. And the points there's 12 different categories. So like the final scores will be like 9-3 or like 5-4, or sometimes there's like a tie, like 6-6. And like you just have to manage your team basically with rotating players.
You're just
Why are you guys laughing? I'm explaining the league, boys.
I mean, yeah, it's
It's pretty
categories instead of points.
self-explanatory. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, like I didn't want to get too in depth. I was just gonna give a few examples, but yeah, there's about in our league.
I'm about to clip that and put that for social.
There you go. But in our league, I mean, there's like what 12 categories. Yeah, we compete over those categories instead of assigning points to a goal or an assist or a shot. So in our league, we kind of play with these huge rosters. I think we have like 22 players on our roster. Our draft night takes forever, and we draft them. It's kind of similar to baseball. I mean, really, except not roto or anything like that. Compete for these categories, and like, yeah, you're going to get players who, get a lot of categories, a lot of stats. My favorite stats to follow or win every week, so my team does well. Like what I build my team for is for hits, blocks, and shots, and I like having good goalies. I don't really go for the goal scoring or anything. That's more of a secondary thing. I think those are a lot more streaky than the other stats, so I think it's harder to predict. So I base my team around that, and I've done very well in my entire category career. I don't know. Matt? Do you have any specific strategy you implement, or do you just?
Yeah, I kind of like stick to the win face-offs as much best I can every week. Goals this year, power play points. I drafted heavy on that. My goalies are kind of struggling a little bit, but like
It's early.
Goalies, you are waiver wire pickups for me, unless you get like a really lucky in the draft. But I didn't have any draft luck for goalies.
Yeah, honestly, for this year, I don't know what it was. I feel like goalies were going way quicker than they should.
Yeah, they were. They went like super early, and
it's like someone picks one and then everyone panics and is like, "Oh no, I need a goalie. Like, I need to do this too." It's like, well, not yet. You don't have to.
For my strategies this year, it's not really like paying off yet. The goals and the face-offs and that.
Yeah, so you are 0-2 right now, right?
I'm in last.
I'm 2-0. Ryan is also 2-0. So Ryan's doing pretty well. He's making a lot of moves.
It's a work in progress, but I need to up my hits and blocks for sure. Sean's kind of kicking my ass
Yes,
there.
Sean kicked my ass in it, but I kicked his ass in goalies. So
Yeah, I need some goalie
I was kind of
starts
embarrassed
upcoming.
to be beaten in the things that I usually try winning. So it's kind of funny. But yeah. So I mean, do you guys, Ryan? Do
Oh,
you have any strategy you implement, or you just kind of winging it this year? I see you've have the most moves in the league at 19, and usually it's
all
like
right.
uncle.
Yeah. So I mean, so my first year at the league, I haven't been in as long as you guys. I was never in the points there. I've only been in category. First year, I did fairly good. Made one first round against Matt's dad.
Good,
Um,
good.
and then I think I
Good,
lost the next
good.
round in like the semis or something like that. But ever since then, I've kind of had a shitty game. This year, I've been trying super hard. Off of the first couple draft picks, I saw that I got Zibbs and McDavid, my two of my
Yeah.
first
Oh
three,
yeah.
and I just realized like I have a lot of people. I've two guys that are going to win a lot of face-offs. So I started like while drafting, I started like drafting more for face-off friendly. So I know that's a category that I should win each week. For
Mhm.
defense, I focus on almost all my defense. I didn't care about assists or goals or anything. I just focused on hits for defense. I
That
try to build
is
defense around blocks and hits.
good
Um, all
strategy.
my all my forwards on basically face-off wins. So even the guys who play like you're categorized as center or and a wing, like how they get the double dual
Hmm.
The
thing.
double whammy.
I picked the guys who had face off wins who were the dual, so I could fill my wings. So like I really went heavy on face offs. Now as I go, another big strategy is I try to use up all my ads for each week. So if I have any left over on Sunday, I'll just drop anyone who's on my bottom who's not playing and just pick up people who's going to play the next day. So that way I don't have to use an
Gotcha.
ad at the beginning of the next week. If I have any left over, I'll kind of prep for
If
Monday.
you have the win locked, you like prep for Monday.
Yeah, that's smart. And
Yeah,
That's a good
exactly. That's what I've been
strat.
doing.
Matt just
Yeah,
made a move right now.
Yeah, I
and
did.
goalies usually are my last option. I mean, I was the last one to take most goalies. I'm pretty sure
Nice.
this year.
I forgot you got first overall pick.
I did.
That's I've never had that, and I've always wanted it just so I could pick McDavid and be like,
I know. I love it. I'm
I'm
loving it.
sweet.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, so,
Uh,
I mean he'll put up points for you by himself. Like you can, with having a good player like that, you can just like kind of
Absolutely.
shrink away from that if you need to.
One guy I keep picking up and dropping. I think I had him every other day. Is Ryan Reaves. I keep picking him up because he gets so many hits,
That's
insane amount of hits.
hilarious. He
So
does. He
like
does.
he just does not do anything else, but he puts up
Yeah.
enough hits that I just keep dropping him, saying, I kind of need him back. I need to get the hits tonight. So I might hang on to him the whole season, honestly, even though he's like kind of trash and everything else,
Dude.
just to hold my
Yeah.
hits category up.
I mean, that's a good idea, honestly. And what's funny is Pat mentioned today at work. He's like, "Dude, someone keeps picking up Ryan Reaves." I was like, really? I'm like, I mean, he gets a lot of hits. Like, it's worth
That's
their
literally
that.
why.
Yeah.
I think week one I was losing hits by like a lot, so I sorted the free agencies by who gets the most hits, and I
Smart.
saw his Reeves by like a lot. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna pick him up, and then when I needed to like another category, I dropped Reeves, and then I picked him back up again. So I just think I was gonna hang on to him and just keep
I
him
mean,
for.
there's no real threat of anyone trying to steal him really either. Like,
Yeah, like someone will pick him up and drop him for the same purpose. Like
Yeah, but
that would be
now
like
if
the
someone,
only way.
what if Fake Ryan's listening to the podcast tomorrow and he's like,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna do that too, because Fake Ryan's always a little sneaky.
yeah, he is real
Fake
sneaky.
Ryan, yeah. He's
What if
So
always
I do it right now?
the
Nah.
only downfall of keeping Ryan Reeves, I think, is like sometimes they'll just healthy scratch him. I feel like he doesn't play.
Yeah, I don't think he does.
I don't know if he was. I don't know if
He-
he did last year, but I know for every team before this, he really like barely played. I mean, he didn't barely play. He played like less than half the season, maybe.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't put up a lot of minutes either. Now, honestly, it's kind of hilarious that the Pens traded like a first round or something like that for him. Like, kind of stupid. I can't believe Jim Rutherford did that, but yeah. So I mean, is that your player to watch then, Ryan? Ryan Reaves.
I mean, Yeah, I guess because all my he's like the only one I'm like I just keep going back to in the well. Like everyone else, all of like my main guys have been solidified in my lineup. I'm never dropping them all and stuff. But there's like I like to keep like 3 or 4 guys on like the bubble that I can add and drop.
Mm-hmm.
But Ryan Reaves might have I don't know, he might have worked his way into my permanent roster just because
Yeah,
I do
he's a
love
big specialist.
you
Yeah,
literally just focus on one category. That's it. Just focus on hits, bud.
it's not a bad move. It really isn't. Yeah, I think that's a good move, and some player I have a few players that I think is worth rostering. I'm not sure in some leagues if they're worth as much, but like Anders Lee and Kubalik are two of the players that I was thinking of. I know I wanted to draft Anders Lee after last year. He got hurt. I was kind of pissed because he's pretty good, uh, but he's just I just feel like he has another step to give. I think he's going to be one of the better players on the Islanders, and he's actually put up 7 points so far this season. Kubalik is kind of the same way. He's owned in our league by Dunkel, of course, because Dunkel knows the Michigan teams. He's on the Red Wings. He has 10 points and I think 6 games, so he's also kind of on fire. Definitely worth adding, even in like normal leagues. Like he might be better than I thought. I didn't think he was going to take a step forward, but I mean, hey, it seems like he is.
Couple people I should mention to keep an eye on if you don't have them rostered. They're more like big name guys, like Nazem Kadri. Like he's a stud. He's gonna be putting up tons of points for the Flames.
There's the Pens. He scored 2 goals on them.
Yeah. Troy Terry, he's only rostered in like 79% of our leagues, and like he's gonna keep scoring goals. Like he's a good goal scorer and natural talent, and
We
I
haven't
think
talked about
he should be
Anaheim much.
rostered.
Yeah, he is one of the bright spots on their roster.
Everyone knows like Cole Caulfield, but at this point, Matty Beniers, he's
definitely.
he's doing well. He's collecting points and winning some face-offs. I'm a big time believer that face-offs are one of the most important stats in hockey. Because like
it goes face-offs, Stanley Cups, wins.
No, come on, let's be realistic here.
Face-offs, goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like you control the play when you win a face-off. So
true. They got chase you.
Yeah, exactly.
What if a team goes 0-82, but they have most of face-off wins?
Then my point is just completely trashed and all. I don't know. I'll do something ridiculous.
Just cry.
Yeah, I just cry probably. No, I'd be like, oh wow, that team must have sucked real bad.
Yeah, that's probably it. Or they just didn't line up a center. My other guy that he's actually on my team that I think is worth adding is Gabriel Vilardi. He has 5 goals, 4 assists on the Kings. I don't think I drafted him, but I saw that he was doing pretty well, and he has just been kind of on fire to start the season. I think the Kings are kind of due. I mean, this is not meant to be a pun or anything. For a renaissance, I think there will be a pretty good team. They just lost Dustin Brown he retired, so I think it's kind of starting to change of the guard. He was kind of one of the last holdouts besides Kopitar and Doughty and Quick of the old regime. They're all pretty young team. Like besides the 3, they're their big 3, I guess. Although I wouldn't really consider Quick a big player as much anymore, but they're pretty young. They could make it. They could surprise some people once again. I think the one guy they drafted like I think 2 years ago, Quentin Byfield. I think he'll be good. I think he broke his ankle his rookie year or something stupid like that. So I think he just got set back by that. But
I think Byfield, like I drafted him in our league last year because I thought he was gonna just be a beast right away. But like, I agree with you. Like he's gonna be a good player.
I do think he'll be good. He's a big body, and he kind of reminds me of like I don't want to say Jordan Stahl, but he is that kind of player. gritty player. Hard to play against. Sandpaper, you know. I think I don't think I would
as a
necessarily add
center,
him,
could he
but
win faceoffs?
yeah, he's a center. He's pretty good at winning faceoffs. That's why I called him Jordan Stahl.
Okay, yeah, because Jordan Stahl, he's like MVP in our league basically like every
Dude,
year.
yeah, I know.
Like
He's a boss.
someone drafted him this year because they caught on to like how many faceoffs he wins. He wins like 15 to 20 every single game.
Yeah, he played probably as their defensive zone centerman. So when they're in their D zone, they'll win the face off, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to play him when you can. Do you guys have any other players to watch? Jordan Stahl, shout out. Always love him. I mean, I don't really have that many players. I mentioned the three, but I'd also just like to mention Tony D'Angelo. Shout out Tony D'Angelo. I think he'll have a great season under Torts. I know he's kind of a piece of shit guy, and probably shouldn't even shouted him out, not gonna lie. But I think he'll have a great season as a Flyer. I think he'll be part of their kind of renaissance as well.
All right.
He's a solid guy. And that pretty much wraps it up for hockey for me. The last segment I wanted to call nerd culture would just be anything you guys really want to talk about that's like kind of outside scope of hockey and kind of nerdy. Two of the things I have is House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones stuff. Won't go into extreme detail, but I thought this season finale was pretty hype. Matt, I don't know if you've actually watched it.
I'm like 3 episodes behind.
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm gonna spoil it. I'm not. I think it's gonna be a pretty hype next season. If you want to go where I go for it,
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think
I'll catch up before the next pod. And
Matt, take your headphones off so you can't hear me.
all right.
I'll give you a thumbs up. I think Aemon, who killed Lucerys at the end with the dragon, I think he's gonna be like labeled a kinslayer or something, which is like one of the biggest sins in Game of Thrones. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know if his like mom's gonna accept him or something. I know there's stuff with the books I haven't really read. I'm kind of familiar with it, but I haven't read it. But I feel like that's like a huge stain on him.
Yeah.
And like I think Damon's gonna get pissed.
Well, I'm pretty sure in the books. I mean, I didn't want to read too much into the book stuff because
I know
stuff, but I'm pretty sure in the books there is like a big fight between Daemon and Aemon.
The Dance of Dragons, I think it's called. I think that's actually what the whole
Civil
War is called.
Yeah, that's what the war is called. But
I do
I'm
think
pretty
they
sure there's
fight.
a big challenge because I think I remember watching. I'm a nerd. I like watching these breakdowns and Easter eggs and stuff like that. Those type of videos. And I'm pretty sure the one guy, like the first time Aemon and Daemon like looked at each other, someone's like, "Oh, they fight." So like they're just trying to foreshadow that ahead of time.
That's true. They did give a foreshadow of that.
Yeah, I do really like it. I mean, it's funny because he knew exactly as soon as he did that, he knew like, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah, and. Is he gonna own it? I mean, he lost control of his dragon essentially, which is kind of scary to see. Like,
which Luke did kind of first. I mean,
yeah, he did attack him, which it's like, first off, like why? Like,
yeah, I'm not.
Run away, man.
Yeah, dude, that was just like I mean, it just kind of showed that both guys were just too young and can't control dragons yet. So like,
it's true. They are young. That's a good point.
Yeah, they were, if they were more experienced, they would, because they kept saying, they had to keep saying like, serve me whatever.
Yeah,
they lost control completely.
Which is honestly scary for if you're a commoner in Game of Thrones. I mean, Meleys and Rhaenys just killed all those people at the crowning of Aegon. So it's like, looks bad.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad you mentioned the book. I have one other thing about this is one of the things that George R.R. Martin really liked about this season was Viserys Targaryen and how he kind of was like this family man, which is not something that was in the books at all. I don't even know if there's anything written about it, but I thought that was interesting. He even said he wants to maybe rewrite some of it. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude, just finish your other books before you rewrite anything. Like the cinematic universe can be kosher or whatever, like canon, but like just finish the books, bro. Like
I
people
know.
want you to.
It's ridiculous how he hasn't yet. Like I think I saw a tweet even like the other day that it was due like that day 2 years ago. It
Yeah,
was like
that's
whenever
insane.
like the final draft is whenever the book was due, and he's never did it.
And
I'm pretty sure this is they don't talk about being a failure, man. They just like call him like the peaceful king because he didn't. There's no conflicts
yeah,
really, and he just like was just like fat and partied and like was
you're right.
everybody loved him. Like he wasn't like he was no one complained about him. Then as soon as he died, like a civil war broke out.
Yeah, when you name a woman as heir, it doesn't go well in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Daenerys can
not at
attest
all.
to that as well.
Hey,
Uh,
Dave, whenever we'll have Matt put his headphones back in, but what's this drop like?
I can't believe Damon
Right
fucked
with
that
your
dragon.
yeah. Yeah, dude, when Damon's head popped off,
Okay.
something like that. All right,
Oh,
Matt,
Matt,
you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, good.
Oh, so you didn't hear about Damon dying?
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was bad.
His head popped off. It was wild.
It was kind of scary.
Oh my god.
It was pretty violent. I can't believe they are allowed to show
Wait,
that.
did you actually not hear that?
No.
Oh,
Like you did. So it's like went and leaned into it. That oh shit, my bad, man.
Holy shit.
I mean, that really kind of summed up our House of Dragon talk. I didn't want to speak too much on it. I know you talked about it.
No, dude, I don't. You know me. I read all the Game of Thrones spoilers. I read the books, so I could be spoiled.
Oh my God! Why didn't you say that then?
But I wanted some mystery to it. Now, like that might draw me back into it. I was losing interest, but like if
Yeah,
he
I don't know.
actually killed Damon, like
So-
holy shit.
So for the losing interest crowd, because you're not the only one in our friend group that said that. I think Toby and I don't know if Toby's watched it. I don't know if Dan's watched it. It's just like I don't know how they're not, because like
Dan
honestly,
he's refusing.
I feel like this is a return to the roots of what made me like interested in Game of Thrones, like the high fantasy, like magic with fucking blood and dragons. Like this kind of thing is really cool because it's I mean it's kind of grotesque in some parts. Like I mean like one of the last scenes in not last scenes but scenes in the last episode there was a fucking miscarriage. It's like that's just gross as fuck, and you see graphic detail about it. So yeah, poor Maddie's not gonna want to watch Game of Thrones anymore.
Man, that's fucking nasty, but
yeah, I mean that's all I had. I don't want to go too in depth in Game of Thrones. I know
has
Ryan
Bran been in it yet? I had a theory.
No.
But that's actually kind of a sick theory that we're gonna see Bran because he's the third eye raven going back in time.
Yeah.
Any weirwood tree. Any weirwood
Like
tree.
I swear that like you know that Laris guy with the cane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have him and Bran both talk in a very like precise manner, and like I had a feeling that like maybe he was communicating to Laris, but like the way you're shaking your head makes it seem like he's dead.
No. I mean he's not dead, but he's just
Bran.
He's just a foot fetish guy that you find
Yeah.
out.
That was funny.
That wouldn't be Bran.
Bran actually walked into him and lit Harrenhal on fire. It was Bran that did it. Hey, Roland.
The ghost of Harrenhal.
Yeah. You guys
a ghost.
got anything else Game of Thrones related? I have
No.
Rings of Power, and that's pretty much all I have left. I don't have as much on Rings of Power. I don't know how many of you guys have, or either of you guys have watched it.
I have not because fun fact about me, I'm a big nerd. I've never watched not Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
So, and there's a couple people told me like, oh come on man, you can definitely watch this without like watching the movies. It's its own thing kind of. And I listened to the one Barstool podcast a lot for pop culture, and the one guy did, and he hated it. He hates the show, and because he never watched the movies.
Yeah.
The other hosts were like, well, we love the show, we love the movies. So it is maybe because you don't know the movies. So I don't want to watch this. I watch Lord of the Rings, which I've always said I want to. I just need forced to.
I mean, honestly, you almost kind of need to watch the movies first to understand, like, some of the pieces in play.
Yeah,
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 like it kind of is doing yourself a disservice. It almost these shows almost assume you've seen some of the show or sorry movies. Um, I have a few notes on the Rings of Power in general. I learned something the other day that the Tolkien estate, who is like in charge of like the works of Tolkien, they didn't sell the entire rights to Amazon, like rights to certain ages and stuff, just the appendices. So it could be part of the reason why they can't talk about certain people, certain elves, certain events is because if they reference it, it'll like break their contract or whatever rights they have, which I thought was super toxic and is a kind of a staple by Tolkien Estate. Actually, they're kind of scummy people. There was like this one, I don't want to say unreleased picture, but like a picture that was under their like copyright. Someone released it to the internet and they're like, take this down or we're going to sue you. And of course, everyone in the internet grabbed the picture and started posting everywhere. It's like, they're,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the first time they've done something scummy, and it's kind of sad because I think the fans kind of end up blaming like the producers and stuff. It's like, hey, if we can only
They only
work with
have
this
so much
stuff,
to work with.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're handicapped, so it's like we can't even mention important characters
That like
without
brings me
being
back
sued.
to the Thrones point. I think like it put like I don't get me wrong, the ending was not my favorite,
Oh,
but
season 8 Thrones.
yeah, like throwback Thrones. Like
Gotcha.
D&D didn't have the quality of content to work with as they like could have if George was done with the series.
To go back to that, another thing I learned about the original Game of Thrones as well is that the original pilot was shot by D&D, but it was so bad people that they showed it to like were like, "Hey, we need to help you." So like I think that's pretty apparent with how they handled the last two seasons. They were not equipped well to write that. And like
Yeah.
almost the same situation, these guys are also for Rings of Power. The showrunners are new guys. They're self-proclaimed Tolkien nerds. I mean, I don't think the show's bad, honestly. Like as someone who went in probably a little biased towards the like favoring it, I don't think it was bad. I mean, I think the hype around it was way too much. It was like the most expensive TV show ever. Like it's gonna get a shitload of marketing and publicity. I mean, can anything live up to the hype like that? Probably not. Maybe Game of Thrones is. I mean, Game of Thrones, I'd argue, is a better show right now. But I mean, that's another argument for another day. Um, I am like kind of shocked how toxic people are online with like there's a lot of racism and stuff. It's just like seems like kind of out of nowhere. Like, oh, why is there black actors? And it's like, who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
like if
Like
it's inclusive and it's
hell
like,
they
if
should.
you really think this fantasy world had only white people in it, there's fucking elves, dwarves, and orcs. Like, are you that stupid and naive? Like,
They should include as many
that's
people as they can to like target like all the audiences.
I
Like
mean,
that would
just
be the
like
smart thing to
it's
do.
if it's the world, like there's gonna be different people in it. Like, who really
Yeah.
cares? Like, it's
Yeah.
fantasy ultimately.
that's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, so like one of the things that I did like about the show is that I felt like it was like faithful to the original like themes of the work. I mean, the elves, the men. I mean, the whole world I feel like is well built. It's like visually spectacular. Like it looks good to watch. I mean, some of the substance maybe isn't as strong, but I mean, you gotta set like the tracks in place for a good show. You can't just like go balls to the wall and like expect it to be, this amazing craft. Like there's gonna have to be some work done, and like they definitely laid the tracks of, the Second Age with. I mean, you guys haven't watched, but like Sauron rising up, and Fall of Numenor and stuff. It's gonna be fun to watch next season. I think next season will definitely be better than this one. Um, and we talked about like the book changes in um, House of the Dragon. My last point on Rings of Power is a book change that they made, which was one of the things that I feel like it sounds good in a book, but it wouldn't look good on TV. Is like the way that Sauron. So since you guys haven't watched, I'll explain a little bit. The way that Sauron in season one. I don't know if you should I spoil it. I don't know if I want to. Do you guys care?
I don't care.
Okay, so that's fine.
Uh,
Season one, they make Sauron this human man that comes from the area where Mordor will eventually be, and that's a change from the original books, which had this elf named Anatar, which is the Lord of Gifts, and he kind of like just befriended the Elven Smiths of Aragon, which is where the elves are in Rings of Power. Celebrimbor, who's the guy who actually smiths the rings, uh, they like kind of like were, I guess, friends. They like Sauron, who was Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, like kind of taught them how to use magic and forge rings. Um, he this is how he kind of like secretly forged the Ring of Power to control these rings. Long story short, the elves are too powerful for that, but to be controlled by Sauron. But that's kind of like how the rings in general came in place in the books. In the show, it's Halbrand, this man that Galadriel meets on like a shipwreck, kind of, and he saves her. They eventually go to Numenor and then to the elves, because Galadriel is an elf, and he kind of does the same thing where he like name drops as a smith that he knew, and Celebrimbor's like, oh wow, and that kind of leads to the rings being forged and Sauron like eventually showing his deceit. And it's just like I think the way that they did it in the show, there more drama in how they did it. They kind of made this Halbrand human guy Galadriel's love interest of the first season, which I could see why that wouldn't really go in like with some of the hardcore Tolkien guys, like people who really follow the lore, because there's really not that many elf men relationships, but it's like
I
drama
see.
for TV. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, that'll get these people to tune in. Will they? Won't they? Kind of thing. But yeah, I just think it's like a drama ad. I don't think I feel like this random elf guy, the Lord of Gifts, walking around the town giving people ideas and gifts and shit. Like that's just like you're like, what? Like what are we like watching? This sounds so goofy. And it's like I don't have any problem with that at all. Like I think it's a great book. I can't really. I'm not a famous, novelist, but like definitely would be weird on TV for sure. Yeah, and that's really all I got for this pod. I appreciate you
uh,
guys coming
I
out
got
and
a I got a little segment. I want to call it Mooch Matrix,
part of nerd culture.
part of the nerd culture. It's a sub segment where me and Dave discuss a video game and the game of the day. I'm gonna just take it to the seas and say we're talking about Raft today.
You can be Halbrand, and
And
I'll be Galadriel. You can save me on the boat.
okay, I'll make sure to hold off on CPR unless you really need it.
So yeah, Raft. So what do you? What?
Raft.
Yeah.
So like, just basically like, what did you enjoy about the game? I could get into it first. You could get into it first.
It's your. You can lead it. Go for it. You
Okay.
know
Well,
to
what I
talk about.
enjoyed about Raft, like, if you got the right soundtrack going during that, like some SpongeBob music, like with a
Pirate
couple
music.
good buddies, maybe some like Davy Jones Locker theme, you could be going hard and just like being productive on a raft. You start off basically on this like 4x4 square and you got to fish out parts from the sea,
Hmm. It's a
and
survival based game.
a survival based game, yeah. And you just survive as long as you can on this raft. You could like anchor at islands, you could like kill the shark. But like what I enjoyed most about it, uh definitely the cooperative aspect where everyone's producing something at the same time
Hmm.
and everyone's like sticking to their like role, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
And
So yeah,
the
it's Raft.
cohesion, the team aspect is what I like about Raft.
Raft is a hard game to play by myself. I definitely did not get as far as I did with you, Toby, when we did it at once. To give Ryan a little context, Raft is this game, survival game. You collect shit, build stuff, collect shit, build stuff. The shark is constantly chasing you around, so if you're in the water for an extended period of time, it starts attacking you. Um, I do enjoy Raft. I think it is definitely a fun game to just settle down and play, and like even like an hour long, you get a lot done. Um, what else do you? I know you had a few things on the game. Didn't you want us to give like a rating or something like that
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, but like before we get to our ratings, I'd say like pros and cons about the game. Like pros, I'd say it looks beautiful. That's one pro I could give it. Like
I can give you a pro. It definitely has a great uh, cooperative mode, and it's not for survival games. It's really not that harsh of a penalty of like when you die and stuff like that. It's a pro for me.
I'll give it a pro. The name's very straightforward and tells you really what the game is.
It does. It really does.
it's true.
It
Mhm.
does. It's a fun game. Very fun game, and it just recently got updated, so there's like a bunch of new stuff. It's another pro. Free. It wasn't that expensive. It was cheap. Honestly, it was like $20 when I bought it. So
Yeah, same. And to get into cons about Raft, I'd say the biggest con for me is how quickly you get like hungry and
hmm
thirsty.
I agree. And how
And
quickly you go through tools.
yeah, yeah, like a
Um,
hook, like the plastic hooks don't last long enough, it feels like sometimes.
like
Definitely
green thirsty in real life or in the game.
in the game.
In the
So
game, you have to
I just
eat
I just
food and
imagine
like
Matt playing, like, oh, I need
He
some
has a
food.
he has a cup of salt water next to him to make it real, splashing his face a little bit.
He
Oh, salty seas.
get the
he
rum
likes you guys
going,
give him a
Yeah.
heads up.
get the goot reel flared up.
Oh
He likes
shit, no.
he likes if you guys give him a heads up when you're playing, so he doesn't eat the entire day.
Wants to feel real. I mean, it's like that deserted island, like feel. It's like something you definitely don't want to experience in real life, but it's kind of fun when you play it in a video game.
So like this brings me to the next point. Do you have any cons to
The cons really is like the tool usage, how quickly you go through it, and like, yeah, the food and water is kind of insane. I mean, eventually the water doesn't really become a big deal. It's the food that's always been annoying. You have to eat like 6 fish a day. It's like, geez, man. Like,
and then you gotta have like one guy catching all the fish, and then if you get to an island, you just better hope that you have enough stocked up for
yeah,
looting.
yeah. There's a lot. I mean, the game has way more pros than cons. Like, honestly, I'm
Yeah,
almost having trouble coming up with a con, but
yeah,
because it's
that's
not even really a con. It's just like part of the game, I guess. But it's a fun game. If I'd have to rate it right now, I'd give it 4.5 out of 5.
yeah. I was thinking like 4.3 out of 5.
That's fair.
And the to cap the segment, the Matrix segment, uh, best setting to play this game in. For example, like sweaty, casual, chill, try hard, cooperative.
Hmm
I'd I'd go
Sweaty.
with cooperative.
Sweaty like I'd be on the boat.
What the fuck is sweaty?
Like sweaty's when you get really into the game.
Call of Duty kind of sweat,
Like
Oh, okay.
like a sweat. Yeah,
I thought you meant like you just had to run around the block and then you could play.
nah.
that's what the cup of salt water is. It's Matt's sweat. Can't lose any fluids on this raft. Might die.
I have to desalinate the water or the sweat
Hmm
and get the water out of it or something. But best setting to play this one in, Dave?
I'd like a casual setting. I'm not in my old age here of 27. I'm not too hard in like the fast twitch like play Call of Duty. I kind of like the chill thing where I can just step away and say hey to Kai or say hey to Roland, my dog.
Yeah.
So definitely prefer it, and I think it's better in that setting. I don't even know how you'd really can play this sweaty because I feel like you just wouldn't have fun.
I only have fun in a different game, but I'm not gonna shout that one out tonight.
Fork
'Cause,
knife. I'll
yeah,
shout it out. Fork knife.
Yeah, that's the only sweaty game I like to play nowadays. Besides,
You
like,
love getting all
couple
sweaty
other
when you
ones.
play with little boys on Fortnite.
Matt likes
No,
being
you're
John
just fucked
Cena.
up. I like default dancing on people.
Matt likes when they're old men, really old men.
Yeah, I like. I,
Yeah. Oh my God, he's doing the dance right now. Matt, stop.
oh, you can't stop me. I'm going.
The Orange Justice. The Orange Justice.
Hit
Oh,
it real quick.
backflip.
Hit it
Oh,
real quick for the YouTube. Hit it for the YouTube episode.
Yeah,
What?
come on, Matt. You gotta do it.
just
It's orange,
one Fortnite dance.
orange justice.
I can't do the orange justice. I'm not
This is your
playing.
best orange justice.
Is this actually going on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing it.
If you're listening, go check out the YouTube at Derry J Sports. At Derry J Sports, you'll find this on the YouTube. He's in position.
Breathing exercise. T-posing. Oh my God.
If you're listening to audio, this is awful for you, but it's hilarious to watch the visual.
I bet Matt has his.
He's in the deep. I want him to do the orange justice.
Yeah, I know he T-posed. I bet Matt has his.
All right, ready? I'll give the orange justice a try. I can't do it though.
Do the best you can.
Matt has his like blinds open right now, and his neighbors across can see him doing this. Or that is the worst Orange Justice I've ever seen. What was that?
I don't know. I just started dancing, man. I'm too old for the orange justice.
I just love dancing, my man.
Well, hey, this was fun. I don't think it's got anything else. I had a fun time. This pod. I don't want it to end. But all good things must end, sadly.
Yeah, so just as a programming note for those listening, we don't 100% have a full-on schedule yet. We might do this every week, might do this every other week. We will see how it's kind of received and see what we want to do with it. But if we do it weekly, it will most likely come out on Wednesdays, not Thursdays. This is one's coming out on a Thursday, but from this point on, it's usually going to be Wednesdays.
Cool. Cool.
Follow at Derry J Sports on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We'll post a lot of stuff there. But we also have a Derry J Sports Hockey, Derry J Hockey, right? Account.
Yeah, I should probably. I don't remember the exact handle. Let me see.
I think on Twitter it's Derry J Hockey. I don't know if we have an Instagram for it yet. So we need
I don't think so. I can make that. I can get that rocking and rolling. Or you can get rocking and rolling. I don't care. Either way.
Yeah, we'll discuss that off the pod, but
for sure.
Right.
So, for now, just follow at Derry J Sports on Instagram and Twitter. And TikTok. We will get the Derry J Hockey up and running, but for now, just do at Derry J Sports.
All right, I got a hockey quote to end us.
Go for it. I love it.
All right. This is in solidarity with Ryan's 2 Chainz line of the week. I suggest you check them out. But tonight's quote, it's Jeremy Roenick. Hockey fans are familiar with him.
Man.
And the quote is, "Yeah, I'm cocky and I'm arrogant, but that doesn't mean I'm not a nice person." Jeremy Roenick. That's the quote.
Of all the things he's done and said, that is not what I expected you to say.
That's awesome, though. That's a good first hockey quote of the week.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Expect to get a good one next week too.
Oh yeah, I got them in my bookmarks.
Hell yeah.
All right, boys.
All right, guys. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Good recording.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Yep. See you guys later.
See ya.